So, yeah, let's run it back one more time.
Yeah. Hold up. Get right with you. I'ma get right with you. Bad bitches fuck up the dismissal.
What's up, everybody? It's Jay Stilla here, back again with another first impressions video, updated first impressions video. And, yeah, some who have maybe watched my first impression video might be wondering why I'm making another one. So long story short, I posted it on Reddit. I got a response of some feedback, which said pretty much that it is irresponsible of me to do a first impressions video based on a test server, and that it could deter new players. It's not a final product, and things of that nature. So I thought, okay, I'll just make another first impressions video, I guess, as soon as it releases. So here it is. Let me start with how much I appreciate that person's feedback. I like to take any kind of feedback and I would like to implement it. So if you guys have any feedback, don't be afraid to leave it in those comments or send me a message, whatever. Now, I'm not a huge YouTuber, so I take a lot of feedback and I implement it as much as I can, especially if it's constructive feedback. As long as it's not completely toxic, I will most likely take that advice and implement it in my future videos. Now that that's out of the way, let's officially start with my new first impressions. Now, as you can see, I am Ancestral 1, which kind of makes me feel like I can make an informed first impressions video now, since I've made it past what most would consider the beginning or mid leveling. So I'll just start with saying the aesthetics of the gear is amazing. Like, this is the Haram gear as soon as you upgrade your questline gear, and it looks really good. The fact that your gear starts looking super raggedy as soon as you open the boxes and changes looks every time you upgrade or enhance your gear, makes it look cooler, is really big for me. I was saying this since I started playing MMOs. It's kind of something that helps with the reward of when you're leveling. Like, your gear looks cooler, you feel stronger, and the look of your gear reflects how your character feels when you play them. So I would just like to give big props to the developers of Archeage for having that. I am a new player, so this might have been in there when they first released it, but I didn't play back then, so I'm just enjoying that now. And the combat has been, although tab target, I come from playing Black Desert Online, so the action combat compared to this obviously isn't a fair comparison, but I've played WoW, I've played other tab target MMOs, and the combat feels really nice and really smooth. The combo system is very interesting. The more combos you do, the more damage you do. It's more in depth than you would think. A lot of people look at tab target like, oh, you just tab target and you can just do all your damage. There's no skill. But having PvP'd a lot, because you kind of can't play Archeage without PvPing, you realize that combos really do matter. Your gear matters a lot. The stats on your gear will matter, and the type of weapons you choose will decide certain advantages or disadvantages in certain fights. And that's pretty cool. I like the in-depth of it. Like, for example, since I'm a Dark Runner, we run two-handed weapons, and I use an Odachi because it's a little bit faster attack speed than, say, the two-handed sword or the great axe, but they offer different stats depending on what you want. So the two-handed sword, I believe, does more damage. It's more same attacks effects though, which is like, so for example, the Dachi and I believe the longsword do like slashing damage, which is more damage to cloth armor, but is weaker against plate, as opposed to the great axe, which is something like crushing damage or something, which does more damage to plate armor. So if you're going against a plate armor user and you're using an Adachi or longsword, you won't be doing as much damage as you could be with a great axe, which is also another layer to the PvP, which is really nice. Now, next would be like the life skill and labor in this game is very in-depth. So labor is almost directly correlated with gold you make in this game. So depending on how you spend your labor also determines like how much gold you're making, how much gold you can make, because you have to use labor in order to do almost anything in this game, to be honest. So maybe you might need to sacrifice a bit of money from your life skills in order to upgrade your gear, because you only have so much labor. And so you lose out on money for that day or so because you decided to upgrade your gear and make it a little bit better than what it is. And since it's a finite resource, it adds an extra layer to how you play your game or how you plan to play for that day, whether you plan on making it a money-making day and laboring and maybe grinding, but you sacrifice enhancing gear, is another interesting thing that I found, and it's nice. It's a nice addition to the game. But talking about labor being a finite resource, it brings me to talking about a big topic in the community right now, which is the Arc Pass. Now, I will be saying, like, as you can see, I haven't been worrying too much about my Arc Pass. I've been focused more on leveling and increasing my gear and kind of just trying to learn the game and other things that the game has to offer, and kind of setting up for Land Rush this Saturday, which is a couple days from now. Might be like still a couple days by the time I upload this video. But there was a lot of issues with the Arc Pass that I wasn't aware of because I wasn't really running the Arc Pass. Like I said, I was leveling. But I did read that there was a lot of exploiting going on. There's a lot of people making a lot more gold than they should have, and a lot more, like, these I think give labor, so they're just stacking labor. And like I said, labor equals gold, so they're just, people I guess who exploited are just really far ahead of everybody else who wasn't taking advantage of the exploit. But this kind of thing is bad. But I mean, any game you play, there are going to be people who exploit, people who are looking for the most efficient way to make gold and to get an advantage in the game, which is a part of the game in my opinion. And it was going to happen, but I will say the developers and the community managers and all the people involved with Archeage have been doing a really good job in my opinion. They have, since the Arc Pass was brought to light in the community, have been handing out bans to people who exploited after the announcement was made that this was an exploit, and that taking part in exploiting the Arc Pass was against their terms of service and was bannable. So because of that, they have been handing out a decent amount of bans from what I heard, but I did also read that they aren't strict enough on them, so I don't know about that. Now, there was the issue of the official launch for the week. There was a lot of issues with the logins, the game crashing, and all this other stuff, which I won't get into because if you're watching this video, you're probably a part of it and you understand what was going on during that whole time. And it's like, I want to give them credit for fixing it as quickly as they did. I'm not too big on networking, I'm not too big on the coding stuff, but I feel like they fixed it in a timely manner and they're dealing with exploits and concerns of the game in a timely manner. As for the launch itself, if I'm talking specifically about the launch was, I would give them 50-50 credit on that. This isn't a brand new game, so having issues like that on launch, queue times are expected, but crashing and whatever, all those like gauze disconnecting people constantly isn't expected, right? Like, you expect to have queues on a game to launch, yes, but all those launcher issues and stuff, I'm not sure. So for that, I give them like half credit, but I am giving them a lot of credit for keeping up with the game and disabling the ARC pass because of, as the shooting of this video, they've disabled the ARC pass because of all the issues that were raised up. And I think that's a good thing. It means they're listening to their community, right? And they're doing things in order to ensure that the game is fun for everybody and you're able to play the game the way it's meant to be played without tons of people exploiting it and them just leaving it in, and then the people who take advantage of the exploits end up being super far ahead of everybody who doesn't, or everybody starts exploiting and the economy's just messed up and everybody has everything they want. So I gotta give credit where credit is due, and by taking out the ARC pass with all the issues that have been raised, I give them credit for that. But whether they can fix it or not, I'm unsure. A lot of people are saying they think it's better if they just take it out completely. I'm not against that idea, but if they can make it a strictly cosmetic pass, just like, say, for example, Apex, a lot of the stuff in there is cosmetic stuff, and I don't think that would be too bad. Now, at the end of the day, I am having a blast with this game. The PvP is great. I've been having a blast helping my friends level. And if you watched my last video, you saw that I was in the same guild that I'm in right now. I joined them before the PTS started, and so shout out to the guildies from Stormborn. They have been a huge help with me being a new player and helping me learn and getting me ready for land rush and certain progression steps to take and how to do trade packs and stuff like that. They've just been really helpful, so I'd like to give them a shout out. And now the game, at this point for me, I'm at Ancestral 1 and I feel like I just started the game, so it's a little overwhelming but really fun at the same time because there's still so much for me to do and so much for me to experience in the game. And I plan on making a lot more content for this channel, whether it be about Archeage or about other games. So which leads me to passing it over to you guys. If any of you out there have any questions or something you would like for me to take a video of, like how to enhance gear or anything like that, then please leave it in the comments below, because I will be keeping up with everything and anything anybody has to say about these videos and making content for it. So if you have something you want me to do or show you, then please leave it in the comments below. It doesn't necessarily have to be Archeage related. I plan on making other videos about Black Desert Online, a game I used to play, and maybe some other MMOs at some point. So if you have any of those kind of ideas as well, then you could also leave those in the comments below. Well, with all that being said, that is it for my updated first impressions video. Now, I hope to see you guys in the next video and in the comments below. Until next time, my friends, peace.